team has challenged and transformed what it means to be an executive, means to be an effective chief executive officer. As CEO, he has led Buffini and Company, ensuring each team member has the tools to help clients win in business and in life. Before becoming CEO, Dermot was involved with events, with training, coaching, corporate relationships, and business development. As the Senior Vice President of Business Development, he has, my allergies are acting up. Dermot has been recognized as a finalist for the San Diego Business Journal CEO of the Year, also an RIS Media Newsmaker, and ranked the Swanpool Power 200. His commitment to excellence has led the San Diego Union Tribune to recognize Buffini and Company as a top place to work here in our very own hometown, San Diego, consecutively since 2016. Dermot emigrated to San Diego, California from Ireland in 2004, and he currently resides here in beautiful Southern California. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dermot Buffini.
How are you guys doing? Woo, kind of, okay? Hey, listen, a little bit of housekeeping, okay? Because I know this is confusing. An Irish name with an Italian last name, speaking on an Asian association of builders. What could go wrong? I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but I can tell you this right after the introduction. Here's what I can tell you, I felt right at home. We started with singing. Then we have the president who told us he's drunk. We have a celebration of a party right afterwards. Come on, let's go. Great stuff. I want to thank Mike Reagan for allowing me to be part of your event. It's great to be here. I hope to be one of your brothers and sisters before I leave here today. That's my goal. But it's great to be part of it. Mike, who you heard from earlier, he has been telling me about you guys for a long time. He said to me, Dermot, I know that you're a proud Irishman, but I also know that you're a proud American. I said, I am. Became a citizen in 2017. Glad to be here. I'm not going back. He said to me, Dermot, one of the core values we believe in America is the power of free speech. How do you guys feel about free speech? Is it important? Yes. Yes. But don't say that to Mike Reagan, because he said to me, great, because I want you to give a free one at AREAA. Gotta be careful. So here's my goal. My goal is to give some information to you today that will encourage you, that will help you, that will give you a path. The title is The Opportunities Ahead. Do you guys believe there's opportunities ahead? Yes. Good. Do the right ones. Because here's what I know. I guarantee you there are. I promise you there are. But we're going to have to do some work and we're going to have to be smart if we're going to avail it. So here's the three things I want to talk to you about today. Okay? And George alluded to it earlier. How do you do as an economist, by the way?
That was good.
Let me tell you, maybe the answer to that question. As a guy who has on occasion followed the odd economist on stage afterwards to speak, you guys were awake afterwards, so he did a fantastic job. But I want to give you kind of a state of the union, some things that we see and some things that we're working on. So the three things I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you a little bit about today's headlines. The second thing I want to talk to you about is a powerful word called clarity. And the third thing is opportunities require investment of time, of energy, of resource. And the opportunities that are ahead are going to require investment. And I'm going to talk to you about the best investment you can make. Now, anybody here kind of familiar with Buffini and Company or Brian Buffini? Is Brian here? So I don't want to presume that anybody knows who we are, what we do, and explain a little bit of this and give you a bit of context to what a great country this is. This is myself and my brother. We've been working together for 26 years. He's the one shorter, wider, a bit richer, in fairness to him, but I'm working on that. And we've been working together for 26 years. And what's amazing is Brian just came over here in the mid-80s, and our heritage is in entrepreneurship. We grew up in Ireland. There were 6 kids in our home. Instead of central heating, my parents decided to have children. And like many Irish people, there's not a lot of opportunity in Ireland. It's a small country. If you've got a big dream and you want to accomplish things, maybe you have to leave. So we did. And so, one by one, we left Ireland. It's kind of like one good idea between an Irish family of 6, and it's like, that's a good enough idea for me, I'm going to. So he took off to the States in the mid-80s, and shortly after being here, to pursue his American dream, he got hit by a car. Compound fracture in his leg, 13 surgeries, and started his American dream with $250,000 in debt. So, no real network here, no support, brand new immigrant, not much education. He had to pay his bills. What did he decide? What business did he decide to get into? Yes! We welcome you're weak, you're poor, you're rich, everybody gets into real estate. He got into real estate, and he started his career by doing the traditional methodology of what we taught at that time, which was cold calling, door knocking for sale reports. And he went after it, hammered it, he killed it. And he realized that he killed him. And he said, this is not how I was raised to do business. How about I do business the way our family parents used to do business? Now, one little thing is, how many of you are Ireland? Yeah? So, my last name is Buffini. It's not perfect. There's about 8 of us in the phone book. Our father's a painter decorator. He said, here's what, you have no option. You have to do a great job for your clients. Because if you do a great job for your clients, guess what's going to happen? They're going to tell everybody. And when they go to look for you, you're going to be easier to find. What's the opposite of that? If you don't do a great job, guess what they can do? They can find you. So we were raised with this philosophy of putting your name to the work you do and doing it with excellence. Brian said, that's what I want to do in real estate. I want to serve somebody in such a way that they'll be so excited about the job that I did, they'll want to tell all their friends and family members. And that took off. And guess what? At that time, that was a revolutionary idea in the real estate business. And very few people were doing it. And he became a super stud realtor, and people loved him. And what happens when you become a super stud realtor is that they invite you to speak at conferences, so you can tell all the other agents how they can be super studs too. And after a while of doing this, and he just started speaking and sharing his system, because he systematized it, people were like, can you come talk some more? Can you come talk some more? Can you talk some more? And that just experience and him sharing his system led to a company being founded in 1996 called Buffini and Company. And it's just up the road here. And it's 30 minutes up the road in Carlsbad here. Driving up the 5 and you're only, if you want a cup of tea, drop in and give me a cup of tea and say hello to the people. But what that has led to in 26 years is us coaching and training not only just real estate professionals, but we've trained about 3 million people in 47 countries, and we work with 21 different industries. And today we serve 250 people working at Buffini and Company who are just dedicated to our mission, which is to impact and improve the lives of people. And that's all great, and it's a great story. But the truth of the matter is, we don't get paid unless our clients get paid. Is that a fair deal? We don't do well unless they do well. So what happens inside that business, and the calls that go on, the millions of hours of phone calls that come coaching people, just like yourself, is that last year, just around 400,000 transactions were done with the clients that we serve. And the average age in May is 370 grand. How do you think the average age did last year? Do you know what the average income of an agent last year was? $38,000. In a hot market. By the way, if you're 16 years in the business, what do you think the average income of a realtor who's 16 years in the business was last year? $87,000. It's in our report. So what's the difference between these folks? Do they all speak with Irish accents? No. We're working on them. We're trying to get them there. Some of them drink like Irish, but that's a whole other seminar. So I want to share with you a little bit about what I've learned. A couple of things that I can share with you that I know will impact your business right away. As I said, the first thing I want to kind of talk to you about is hangovers. Because I'm Irish. And it seems like tunes into them. Does anybody ever have a hangover? Does anybody currently have a hangover right now? Is anybody thinking about having a hangover? You know, I was back in Ireland over the summer. My parents are 91 and 92. They can't live in their home anymore. We have to find a assisted living. So we were over there for 10 days. Hotels, packed. Airlines, packed. Restaurants, packed. There's been this pent-up, this pause in life that has resulted in this pent-up demand for people to live life again and get going. And just as we're returning to a sense of normalcy, what are we all seeing? We're seeing these headlines. And people are going, you gotta be kidding me. I thought we were getting back to some sense of normalcy. So, here's the main headline. Everything is terrible. Is that how it feels right now? Here's the headlines that we see. And by the way, how often do the headlines change? It feels like it's every 9 seconds. George says every 30 seconds, but I'm like, it feels like it's every 9 seconds. Because you know what? This is not about news, it's about headlines, it's about eyeballs, it's about attention, it's about getting you to click on something. Are the headlines going to change? Are they going to get worse? Is it going to feel worse? Is inflation a new concept, by the way? Is it something new? Higher gas prices? No, there's just nothing new. But what is new is that what we get to see on our phones, it doesn't turn off. It never leaves us alone. I'm not going to actually show hands, because a lot of people cannot fall asleep without listening to something on their phone. Does anybody know anyone like that?
Yes.
It doesn't turn off. So here's what I'm saying. The headlines are going to keep coming. And I don't say put your head in the sand and not pay attention. The reality is things have changed. But here's what I do know. It's at times like this that some people will have a thought like, what if I just go on vacation for the next 4 months? And then I'll just go back. And everything will be okay, and I'll get back to working again. Has anybody had that thought?
Yes.
Yeah, don't do that, okay? That's a pro tip. That's a thing. The thing about it is right now there's agents are going to get out of business. And they should. They were never rich. $32,000 if you're not in business. There's companies not going to be in business. Because you know what? They didn't have solid fundamentals. Good agents are not going out of business. Good companies are not going out of business. But here's what I do know. Having done this for 26 years and serving our clients through multiple recessions and difficulties and challenges, that if you learn and you take action and navigate this next season, and you outlast this season, you are going to reap the rewards on the other side of this. So that's what I believe, and I promise you that's going to happen. So here's my headline of Buffini and Company, okay? And you can steal this, you can borrow this, but here is what I'm telling our staff. We have heard about the recession, but we've decided not to participate. No, thank you. No, not here. Not in the video, no. It's not a denial, it's just like, we are going to set our minds on other things. We are going to be looking for opportunities. There is going to be opportunities. Because great businesses are built in adversity. The two biggest tests you will find in your life are adversity and success. Is anybody here great at dealing with adversity in their life? You're realtors, for God's sake. It's what you do. Adversity will bring you closer to God. I'm praying, dear Lord, just answer my prayers. I promise you everything will change, I'll do it again. And success makes you think that you are God. Hot markets do not build hot skills or hot businesses. They're just a lot of cold skills. So, that's my headline of Buffini and Company, but as we're talking to our clients, I'm like, hey, how about this? How about we get so busy creating our own headlines and get to work on the things that we want to do, that we're not worried about the headlines that are going on. So here's a couple of fun ones and things that I want to aspire to for our clients. The Buffini client generates a record number of referrals. Blew it out of the door, put up the MLS. Best year ever. A Buffini client closed record number of sales in a quarter. A Buffini and Company client swims in a surplus of cash. Just imagine that for a second. And the last one is the headline I look for every year. A Buffini and Company, this is the headline I look for. Last year our clients made 370 grand, and they took 5 weeks off. Because they did well in their business, and they did well in their life. And that's what I want for you. So let's get into a little bit about, well, how are we going to do this? I'll talk to you about the word clarity. as a CEO of Buffini and Company, as the CEO of your own businesses, that is the number one thing we're fighting for. Let me prove it to you. How does it feel when you don't have clarity? Stressful. Chaotic. Disorganized. Unsure. Yeah, it's not a great feeling, is it? So let's talk about the importance of clarity. I love stories too, and some of the panel here was talking about is creating your stories. And some of the stories I love are all in, everything's in story. There's no new stories, there's no new environments, there's no new stories really. But do you know that America was the first country to ever write a goal? Does anyone know what that goal was? Let me remind you, it was said by John F. Kennedy on May 25th, 1961. Here's what he said. He said, I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before the decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth. Super clear. That's, by the way, one of the greatest goals that's ever written. It has what the commitment is. It has what the goal is. The moon. It has the timeline. And it has the part that Neil Armstrong was really most interested in.
Safety.
Returning safely to Earth. So Apollo 11 landed on the moon right before, 5 months before the end of the decade. And the whole world watched. And it was amazing. But here's what happens when you commit your goals. And the only way to get goals is by getting clear. What do you want? What do you not want? But here's what happens. When you write it down, something magical happens. They stay in front of you. Not only that, but people start showing up that helps you. You start sharing with other people, they're asking, how are you doing? How's that going? How's things going for you? We had Neil Armstrong come to our event in 2002 in Las Vegas. We had 5,800 realtors in the MGM grant. You can see it a long time ago, it was Brian McRae, And Neil Armstrong, who is a NASA engineer, who hadn't done his public speaking engagement in 20 years, because he got so burnt out by what happened afterwards. He was an engineer, he just wanted to start, don't you want to achieve a goal? He wasn't into the celebrity stuff. And we invited him to come, and he said, I'm going to go speak to, what are they? They're engineers? We're like, no, they're realtors. He's like, I know you guys are Irish. He goes, you know what, I'm not a realtor. I'm an engineer. He writes, no, I want you to come and speak to realtors because I want them to be reminded of what a great country this is and what the power of gold can do. Neil Armstrong said, I'm in. And he came. So Neil Armstrong told a little bit about the story. He said, listen, we had the clarity, we had the goal, it was written down, our boss man said, this is what's going to happen, here's what we're going to do. He goes, there's 300,000 or 400,000 people, between 300,000 and 400,000 people working on the space program to make that a reality. And he said, and the most important thing, he goes, when we left work that night, all we had to do was look up in the sky and say, there it is. That's the stories, there's nothing new, and that's what I want for you guys. Now, on the other side, history can also teach us other things. So now I want to teach you another version of that story, except it's an Irish story. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. So anybody recognize what this is? It's not me, but that's me. Alright, what happened to Titanic? Yeah. Why did it sink? Yeah, kind of. I mean, that was the last thing it hit. Okay? So, the Titanic had clarity. It had a goal. It was going to be the fastest passenger ship to ever cross the Atlantic. It was going to depart April 10th, 1912, and it was going to arrive in New York on April 16th, 1912, 6 days later. The conditions were fabulous. It was like a really good market. It's like, this is easy. This is easy sailing. It left from Belfast, because it was built in Belfast, and it went to Southampton to pick up some passengers and change crews. But because it was under so much pressure to achieve the goals, get there as quickly as they possibly could, it led to some consequences. That night, the conditions were perfect. It was like glass, the ocean was like glass. There's a thing called an Arctic mist, which makes objects look much further away than they actually are, and smaller than they actually are. But there's a couple of things that happened before the iceberg. Number one is, this was an ego play. This was like, we're going to do this, we're going to pull it off, and this is the thing that's it's going to attract so many passengers to our line, we're going to make a gazillion dollars. But they ignored some very important information, which is number one, some signals. They got 9 separate signals. The fact that there was icebergs further south than they had planned on. It wasn't, they knew there was icebergs in the water, they knew it was that time of year, they had plotted their course in order to navigate them, but they ignored signals from other ships to tell them they're further south. One of the reasons for that was because not only were they getting signals from other ships, they were also getting signals from very wealthy passengers, family who wanted to contact them, and they pushed them to the side and they dealt with the wealthy. The second thing that happened was, in their haste to set sail from Southampton, the lookout, who's very important on a ship because they didn't have sonar, he left, and the other lookout got on. And this is lookout Frederick. Frederick Fleet was his name. And Frederick Fleet got up into the crow's nest, and they set sail, and got on their way, and he's like, wow, I'm starting to miss a bit dodgy. Can't really see, don't have visibility. So he went over to the binoculars case, and it was locked. And the person who got off the ship had the keys to the binoculars. There was no visibility. And he was afraid to go down to the deck and ask for help, because they had binoculars on the deck, but he was like, no way, somebody's gonna get fired, something's gonna happen to the guy who left, and I don't want to throw him under the bus. So he had no visibility. And to me, the lesson with the Titanic is the fact that there's certain things we can ignore. Visibility is key. Clarity has to be pursued every day. Are there things that get in the way of you achieving your goals in your business? What would be some of those things?
Distractions.
Yep.
Not having enough clarity on your goals.
Yep.
Timeline.
Yeah.
On those goals.
Yep.
Not knowing the path you're going to take.
Yep.
Or not measuring those goals. So you just put yourself in a situation where you can't make that.
Can you take over from me? And I've also put kids, spouses, brothers, life's happening. So clarity must be fought for on a consistent basis. So my question for you is, as this last season and we enter into this new season, I have a couple questions for you to ponder. Number one, are there some signals over this last season that you've been ignoring? Is there some things that people have been trying to tell you? Is there, who knows, with your health, with your finances, in your relationships? What are the icebergs that are in your way? I can tell you this, here's what I know. They're typically the same things. They typically don't really change until we change them. But it's really important in order to have clarity to pay attention to these things. And then last but not least, who's watching out for you? Who's your lookout? Who's the person who's looking out for your business, looking out for your goals, helping you, supporting you? All these things are just super, super important. So let me ask you this, what does it feel like when you do have clarity? My man, come on, help me out here.
You're more focused.
There you go, exactly. You're more focused. I think the English is leading the way to there. So, here's the benefits of clarity. You have direction. You have direction. It's the moon. It's not Mars. It's this. You plot your path. It's direction. Zig Ziglar, one of my favorite motivational speakers, he said this. He said, lack of direction, not a lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24 hours in the day, is that true? Mm-hmm. Second thing is purpose. How many of you will just go to work every day where it's just like, wow, that was purposeful?
Yeah.
Anybody? Bueller? Yeah, you do. Yeah, me too, man. I do. So let me ask you this, and this is interesting. What is your purpose as a realtor? What is your purpose as a real estate professional? Let me help you out with this. The purpose of a real estate agent is to sell homes and provide an excellent customer service. The amount of times we've been at events and we've asked people that question, and the answer is just to make dreams a reality, to live my best life. Fantastic. And you can do that if you sell freaking homes. So know your purpose. Focus on your purpose. Because when you talk to somebody, you've got to tell them why you're there. And if you have a brokerage or if you're helping realtors, is that the purpose of real estate office is to create an environment to help agents sell homes. And your job is to make sure that you're in an environment that just hammers that home, hammers that home, hammers that home, hammers that home, supports you, talks about it, doesn't confuse you. And the last part is focus. You mentioned that. Focus. Are we living in a distracted world? Are you married to anybody who's highly distracted? Have you looked at your screen time anytime recently? I hate getting that report. It's just so depressing. It's like, oh, your screen time is down 22%. Yes, you're only on your phone 14 hours. We're driven to distraction right now. The headlines are distracting, life's distracting. And I can tell you this, it's not you, the power of focus, and that has to be part of your environment too. So here's, what should you focus on? And I'm going to tell you, the opportunity right now, in this future time, is really for your business and the success of your business and yourself is right around these 4 things. And this is what we're telling our clients. Would you like to know what they are?
Yes.
Here's what they are. Number 1, focus on generating more referrals. Simple. No Irish space program. Well, actually, that's not true. We actually tried to put them out in the sun. But we decided we're going to send them at night time. But anyway, boom. More referrals. Keep it simple. There's a lot of people out there who don't know that you want to help them. There's a lot of people who you've helped, and you've done a great job for them. Does anybody have a past client that you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't got back in touch with them? Anyone? Yeah. I'm telling you, it's like, it can be in a hot market, it's the last thing you go back and do is ask for referrals. If you generate more referrals and more leads, what's going to happen? Generate more sales. And then the third thing, that's super important, is net income. Is there any ego in real estate? What are we talking about? Gross commission income. You know what I think about gross commission income? It's gross. Highly gross. In Texas, they call it, what do they call it? Big hat, no cap. In Ireland, we call it fur coat, no knickers. This industry is about zillions of dollars of selling them. Here's what I do. My team is this thing. The thing we focus on and drive home is net income. Why do you think it's even more important right now? Because inflation is at 8.1%. You have to, I would recommend that you guys go back and look at your expenses and you cut it by 10%. You stay ahead of inflation. You focus on the net. You focus on the expenses. Anybody have some subscriptions they might have signed up for during the COVID season? I have to. And the thing about it is, it's times like this that prepare you to get back to what matters most. Now here's a little tip for you. It's really important that you cut out the fat and not the muscle of your business. You want to find reserves. You want to find an extra few bucks, and you want to find a bit of fuel because that's what this next destination is going to take. And last but not least, let me ask you this. Anybody here have any challenge of taking a day off? When's the last time you had a really like a pure day off? Maybe a couple of days off. I can tell you this last season is not conducive to it. Real estate is a perpetual business. It's perpetual energy. If you are a perpetual person who loves to just get after it and keep going, and there's no end to my day, no beginning, and I just keep going, guess what happens to you? Burnout. If you're a person, anybody in here who's like, I don't like work, I like to be done like at 3 o'clock, my people fuel is low.
Yes.
Anybody like that? Yeah. You don't honor that, guess what happens to you in this business? You burn out. And I can tell you right now, as I coach a lot of CEOs of trading companies, Fortune 500s, and I can tell you, it is the epidemic of what's going on right now, where maybe not burnt out, but people are worn out. At our company, every once a month, we do a Friday, we call it a Good Life Friday. I would tell people, take the Friday off, have a long weekend, because you're going to be. I just highly recommend you build that into your calendar. Because if you're doing the first 3, you're going to need a day off. As I said, focus, for me, there's only 2 things I measure. How we're doing as a company, and that's focusing on how our clients did. And last year they did 364 grand, 69 grand, and they took 5 weeks off, and I'm like, yes. Now I talked to my brother, now we need to do the same. So they're the Fab Four, focus on them, things are gonna happen. The last thing is this, Warren Buffett is about to, in the next couple of years, invest a boatload of money in the market because he sees the opportunity coming, and those who are prepared. Do you know that consumer confidence is at one of the all-time lows? But yet consumer spending is at an all-time high. Did anybody were all the restaurants empty last night? Were you guys in here last night in San Diego? No, you're gonna go out there and it's jammed, it's packed. There's $4.3 trillion in savings in the United States, the highest of all time. There's $28.2 trillion in home equity. Those people are also going to be looking for opportunities to beat 8%. And you guys need to be ready to serve and meet those folks. But as I said, the best investment you can make, and that's what I want to talk to you about, is the investment in yourself. An investment in yourself. You are the number one asset in your business. You are the biggest challenge in your business. You're the number one asset in your life. If you're not well, things aren't well. If your business is not well, things aren't going to go well. So I want to encourage you to really just look at opportunities to invest in yourself. What skills do you need? What classes do you need to take? What do you need to get back to? What routines? Does anybody have a routine that they kind of went away during the COVID seasons? I did. And I can tell you that routines are super important. I tell you what went away. My eyesight went away. On Zooms all day long. I picked up a friend, about 15 pounds of it. I'm going to get after this. Starts next week, I'm getting back into my routine, and I'm going to start looking at how am I investing in myself to be the best version of myself. Jim Rohn said this, love this quote. He said, investing in yourself is the best investment you can make, because it will not only improve your life, but it will improve the lives of those around you. How many of you would like that? Like that you just invested in yourself, and you took care of yourself so well, and took care of your business so well, that your kid said, Mom, what are you doing? Can I do that too? Or your spouse said, oh, I don't want to do it, but I don't know that you're naked, so I might do it too. Believe me, it will happen. Who inspires you? Who inspires you? Who around you? Who do you know? Who do you look up to? You're like, that's who I want to be around. Take them to lunch. Talk to them. Ask them what do they do. How do they take care of it? Just what it costs. Where do they go? I promise you, there's this monstrous amount of knowledge out there in this room. But I'll tell you what inspires me. My clients. Our clients. Their stories. I love them. Because impact and improving people's lives is an easy thing to say. Helping people in their business is easy to say. Saying I do is easy. It's the doing that's hard. Making the baby is fun. Keeping it alive is a whole other thing. When you're really not a parent, let's just talk about a pill. I'll take care of it. You're not a parent if that happens. Our clients inspire us. I want to show you a client story. And it's a few years ago. I want to show you this because things are always in motion and there's always challenges. And maybe you might see some of yourself in this story. This lady's Joanne Zabrowski. She came to us after being in the real estate business quite a few years. How do you think she got into the real estate business? She saw a realtor. She bought a house from a realtor and said, God, that looks easy. And decided, anybody else? This is confession time, by the way. You can tell me. It's like, this looks easy. So she did it for a while. And guess what? She was doing activities she wasn't suited to do. She was cold calling. She was following online leads. She was doing all stuff that conflicted with who she is and what she believed that the way she wanted to do business. And she hit a few icebergs. She hit a few icebergs in her life. Got a divorce. Husband left her in debt, left her in all sorts of trouble, and left her with 2 kids that they had just adopted. And she got a coach. And she went, I can't let the ship sink. And she got help, and she got after it, she got it going. And I want to share her story with you. Joanne Zabrowski.
So I've been in real estate for about 21 years, and I got in into real estate because I felt I was good at sales. When we moved here, we sold our house and we had a realtor do it. And I said, that looks so easy. You know, and I thought, I can definitely do that. We had been married for 15 years, couldn't have kids. And we took a trip to China. We adopted 2 girls, Kristen and Sarah, a year apart. Came out here, I didn't know a soul, got my license. The only thing you can do is cold call. It was a 7-day-a-week, 8 to 10 hours a day, and it was hard. It was not a nice life at all. In about the year 2000, I got divorced. He left us with no money. He left us in debt with IRS and credit cards of $150,000. During that time, I kept thinking there has to be a better way to do this, and I just wasn't happy. So then I went to a half day that Ryan had, and I just said, this is it. Shortly after that, I signed up for coaching, even though I didn't have much money, but I said, this is what I gotta do.
When Joan came to us, we worked on her business plan. She had some random thoughts and ideas what she wanted to do with her business, but we put together a plan that made sense for her and set some goals.
I just knew that I had to get all this debt paid off. It took me about 5.5 to 6 years to get that paid. I paid off everything. My coach was so helpful in getting me through that, and he kept telling me that I could make it through, and I just had to go out there and keep working.
But we really utilized her great work ethic. She sets goals with personal notes, and she wants to achieve 50 personal notes in a given month, and she does a whole lot more even beyond that. So even in 2016, she had written over 1,200 personal notes. That has a lot of impact on people.
I think by doing the calls, notes, and pop-bys and the events, I think I've kind of created a little community within my client base. I have a whole basket of notes that I've gotten in my office, and I get notes daily because people are just thanking me. And I just feel so good that I can brighten someone's day.
My mom is my biggest role model by a long shot. She works tirelessly and she's so selfless in everything she does. And she's always really positive. She's always pushed me to do what I want to do, and I know she loves what she does. She's so good at it.
So this is a letter that my daughter wrote. So she says, I'm grateful for all the little things you do for me and for all the good times.
Remember all those little notes you used to leave in my lunchbox?
I still have most of those tucked away somewhere.
And all those times we went to St. Paul and played soccer in the rain, or we stayed up late talking?
Those always stand out to me as some of the very best times.
I'm so fortunate and lucky to have parents who are always there for me, who understand and will help me out and cheer me on no matter what.
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. So, impact your own life, situation, impact situation. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. And that's the juice, that's the thing I love. And I know that's the thing you love about certain industries and your clients. Maybe you're not where Joanne started, maybe you're in great shape, maybe you're in good form, maybe it's just a few things to reconsider. But it's time to invest. It's time for you to have in your budget, in your finances, set aside a dollar amount that you invest in 2 ways, 3 ways if you want. Your business, yourself, your family. Make a note. I want to make an investment in you. Now I want to give you a couple of free resources, some things to get you started, to take you out of the headlines. And the first is Brian's podcast called It's a Good Life podcast. Have anybody in here heard that? Listen to it. I don't. Okay. But people love it. No, it's great stuff. It's relevant stuff. And here's what I tell you, it's just like simple stuff that you can do, ideas to take care of yourself, take care of your business. And there's a bunch of details and information, and we'll keep it updated as regards to what's happening, what's relevant, and what do you do. The second thing is this. Whether it's with Buffini and Company or someone else, there's lots of options out there. I highly recommend you check out coaching. You check out some sort of professional development and invest in yourself. I promise you it'll make a difference. If you want, here's a QR code. Click that there. There's a couple of resources in there if you want to talk to one of our folks, and they'll do an analysis for you and where your business are and have a chat with you. By all means, take it. There's a couple of other resources in there. Now's the time. Now's the time. Good times do not always produce good businesses. It's the hard times and tough times and the adversity that builds your business and builds your character. So here's what you need to do. Forget the headlines. Create your own headlines. Get so busy and so excited about making your goals and your life happen, and the things that you're proud of, and the things you put on hold, get back after it, that you're excited. Number two, make sure you have clarity. And do not proceed until you have clarity in your life and in your business. And the third thing is this. I really do hope that you make the best investment you can make, and that's in you. Because you're worth it. You paid the price to do this crazy, fun, exciting, frustrating business. And maybe, just maybe, this is the time to make sure and ensure that your best years are ahead of you. I've had a blast. I hope today that I become inducted into the brother and sisterhood as an Irishman. But I want to thank AREAA. I want to thank all of you for showing up here. And I hope this has been of some benefit for you today. I want to thank you for your attention and participation. God bless you guys.